So you've just been kind of wandering around New York, just trying to see what's calling to you. And
Tonight might be line dancing. There might be a free line dancing place.
oh my gosh,
Stay tuned.
did you find that? Like, just like a poster on the
I do
street, or like some guy was line dancing. He was like, "You want to know how to do this? Come to my class."
I genuinely like want to line dance. I did it when we were filming in Florida. My buddy went to a line dancing place because he has a friend who frequents there. And it was just a good time. And I'm just like, there's got to be some line dance in New York City.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I've yet to go, but I have cowboy boots because I got cowboy boots for this musical once.
Yeah.
And I just need to break them in. So we'll see.
Well, that's cool. What's the project that you're in New York for?
None actually.
Oh,
This was
okay.
just a lifestyle change.
Okay, good, nice. Yeah, something's coming. Probably you're gonna wander, and he's like, "Hey, we're casting somebody's really cool who can skateboard," and you're like, "That's me.
Well,
That's me. That's
Wow!
me.
When did I have to
That's me."
skateboard? That was a blast from the past. I never
Yeah.
realized that once.
You haven't used that yet?
For a long
Well,
time.
we used it in the vampire
time.
movie. Remember
Yeah,
the
that
legendary
was it. That was the
pull-up?
only time I'd ever been asked. Dude, that was so fun. It was so funny because I love to like reminisce about our past movie, but Sean was kind of like, "Don't hurt yourself," and immediately I fall twice on it. I'm like trying to be cool, and I like hit my head, and then
At least, at least it happened before the cameras were rolling, right? Or were they? Is that on the blooper reel? Yeah.
That would have been so funny if I could see just like coming in fast, hitting grass, and just.
But you continue the scene, just like half your face is just like shredded off.
And that's something that I learned on that set was never just like bail mid take if like things aren't going well. Always go push through.
Yeah, even if you're bleeding out, you got to do it. You got to
Correct.
commit. Well, I mean, Leo did that, right? With
Especially a vampire movie.
Oh yeah, that people mean. They might come up to you, ask for a taste. But then, didn't Leo do that when he like stabbed his hand through a cup or something? And
which movie was that for?
I think the Django, the Tarantino.
I believe it, dude.
Dude, he's just like,
he's living in the moment.
He was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna use that for the character. I'm bleeding out."
Was that the dinner table?
Yeah. Just crazy. Yeah.
Legend.
Crazy. But yeah, no. See, I'm trying to think. I was thinking about it today, and I was like, it was 3 years ago about that we were filming that movie, which is crazy.
I know. Wait, when was it? It was April, I think. I was actually going through my old camera reel. I think
it was April. So I was like, I knew I need to have you on because we had so much fun doing that together, and we just like felt like we had to most of the time, like on screen, we were supposed to. Yeah, dude, it was film camp, but
genuinely, I tell people that it felt like summer camp, like it didn't feel like work.
Yeah. And with that, you introduce yourself.
My name's Andrew William Larkin.
Oh yeah, and we met by coincidence. 3 years ago, April. Which is crazy because it was literally film camp. We all just kind of showed up. Each one of us was like really just trying to figure it out because we all were kind of new to acting, right? Because you had done some acting before, but you were still kind of learning stuff, right?
It was so unique because one, we had like such a small production company that Sean and Taylor have. We all lived at the house together. It was like over a couple weeks. I was only there for I think 10 days.
Yeah.
And all of us, I'm pretty sure it was our first film. I mean, like I'd done like theater stuff and like short films and stuff, but it was never the scale. And I remember so many times you saying and like us all saying like pinching ourselves like, "Milk, we're making a movie." Yeah. It's like 3 a.m. We're making a movie.
You know? We're making a movie. Yeah. Dude, it felt like in all of our scenes we were like supposed to like be like against each other, kind of. I mean, we were just kind of like we weren't supposed to be like friends. We were just kind of supposed to be like we were both wanted the same girl, so we were kind of like we had some conflict. But I felt like every time the cameras stopped rolling, then we would just like go back into goofing off, and we got yelled at once. Do you remember that?
Dude.
Do you remember when we got yelled at?
I'll never forget that. That was like a big moment, and I talked to him afterwards because I was. For anyone who doesn't know, like we were filming a scene in the room that we were staying in, so I associate that room with just like literally goofing off, kind of all night, like good night, oh good night, good night. We were just like laughing until we can't fall asleep. And we were doing that scene in preparation. I was also like a little late. I was like literally outside with Bella doing yoga, and I took a shower. I got in a little late, and then we were just goofing off the whole time. They're like trying to set the shot up, which rightfully so. And then Sean was just like, "Are you guys like clearly like are not ready? We're gonna take 5, get it together, and we're gonna come back." And what an incredible, again, first like film movie, and I've grew up, like, I never really got in trouble,
Mhm.
so, like, my nervous system, like, what does it do to
Yeah.
that? And then you have to go into this scene and my character is kind of, like, comedic, so I don't
Mhm.
wanna, like, lose that.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of obstacle to overcome, again, rightfully so,
Yeah.
we were
We
not
were
locked in,
goofing.
I was not locked in.
Yeah.
But then to do the scene, and I kind of love that scene,
Yeah.
bro, and I think it turned out really
Yeah.
well, and then afterwards, I went down to talk to, Sean Taylor just to
Yeah.
apologize, and again, just more, like, life lessons
Yeah.
that he was such a fatherly figure,
Yeah.
I feel like teaching us throughout just the whole process, and there were so many times where maybe we didn't do something right, or there was just a moment where nothing was wrong, but it was just a teaching moment,
Yeah.
and he was always kinda teaching us throughout, it was
Yeah.
really cool.
No, I agree. But I mean, that was part
Like,
of
we
it was like
yeah.
I felt like most of our scenes together were so like goofy that like part of my prep was being goofy with you to then be goofy in the scene. But we took it a little too
Mhm.
far and we were
Yeah,
loud.
bro. I think it's so funny because the tone of the movie, I still don't fully know
No, we don't know.
watching it, and I feel like it was more of like a horror,
Yeah.
and, for better or for worse, we kind of really turned it into
Mhm.
a comedy,
Yeah.
you know? And I kind of like I was like, I feel like the only way I can play this character honestly is to, like, really lean into
Yeah.
it to make it kind of so
Yeah.
absurd, and then the energies kinda started bouncing, and
Yeah.
it was such a fun time. Hopefully, you can, like, see it on
Yeah,
camera
I think you can.
because it was genuinely, like, that much
Yeah.
fun, making it, which translates.
Yeah, dude, like, I still think about that you woke me up with your toe in that one scene.
My toe. My
Let's get a close up.
unclipped.
Yeah, the unclip. Did you was that on purpose? Were you like, "Nah, my character wouldn't clip his toenails," or was that an after the fact of like, "Oh, I definitely should have clipped the toenails."
Oh, I was more focused on my balance,
Yeah,
honestly. I was
that's
very
true.
impressed. I was like 1 foot flamingo mode going toot toot because it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like toot
Doink,
toot
doink.
toot
I mean,
like multiple
that's why I
times.
had to do yoga before with Bella because you were like, "I gotta
That's
prep for this toe to the
absolutely
forehead."
true.
This is it's very
No, I actually you know what's funny? Because I think that was like a last minute thing,
yeah.
if I'm tripping. Like, I don't know if I was supposed to wake you up with my toe. I don't think it was
I
like, that
doubt
was
it was
supposed to
in
be
the
funny,
script.
which is the beautiful thing
Yeah,
about film, man, where,
yeah,
like, you have a script, you have an idea, and then you get there, and the same thing with, like, you have characters, and then the characters get together, and then you just, like, find things.
yeah,
There's, like, an alchemy that happens
yeah,
on set.
yeah. No, I agree. There was a lot of that was us, like, really getting to play characters, but also finding pieces of ourselves in these characters that then matched other people's pieces. It was I think we all did a good job of, like, connecting and portraying what they were looking for and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember, like, because I was kind of at a very stale kind of moment in my life,
Mhm.
and this character, I just, like, kinda channeled, like, middle school Andrew, like,
Yeah,
12-year-old energy of, like, youthful kind of super silliness and just, like, not thinking, just, like, reacting, and it kind of changed me for that, like, off camera too, I feel like I
mhm,
was, like, lighter on my feet,
mhm.
and even, like, that kinda seeped in, and, I mean, I'm curious just, like, as we grow throughout our careers and play different characters and,
Yeah,
like, do the character work to dive in and, like, you're immersed on set, like, how do we navigate leaving it there versus bringing it home and when it serves versus when we're playing a serial
yeah.
killer and trying
Oh,
to, like,
yeah.
find that disassociation?
No, it's true. It's good. And yeah, I feel every project teaches you a little bit more about yourself too, right? Because it's like you probably wouldn't have explored being back to the mindset of being in like your middle school self, but then
Mhm.
yeah, it's fun to get to have these experiences where you're like, actually I get to play myself again, where all I thought about was like, can I go play soccer or eat a Twinkie? And you're like, yeah, yeah, this is the life. So
Bro, giving yourself permission, I find, is, like, the biggest gift,
mhm,
that certain characters and certain shows and certain opportunities can give you because I find there are a lot of times where I don't necessarily give myself permission to act a certain way or feel a certain feeling,
mhm,
but then you have a character who's doing it, so you have all the permission in the world, and then you can kind of turn that flip, and it's almost like I always find that's kind of healing for me because
mhm,
I feel like live like this,
mhm,
but if I have a character that goes up and down, like I get to, and it's still parts of myself that I'm bringing to it,
mhm.
so I get to feel things that I don't usually feel, but it's still real, you
Yeah.
know? So
No, it's true.
it's the beauty. There's so many reasons why we're in this, man,
Yeah.
and that's one of the cool things about it.
Yeah. I guess that leads me to my first question, but, what do you wanna be when you grow up?
Like now or like when I was a kid?
Right now.
Right
Right
now.
now.
I mean, the simple answer is, like, I'm a family man, you know, so, like, I wanna that's such a McConaughey answer, dude, but it's just, like, I
Family
wanna be a
man.
father.
Yeah.
So, definitely, I wanna be able to, and it kinda scares me because I wanna be an actor, I wanna tell stories. The reason why, like, when I got into this, I got very clear on kind of my foundation, my why, because I knew how challenging it was gonna be.
Mhm.
So I wanted to make sure that I had that foundation so that when the days got tough and it got rough, it was able to propel me through it. So some of the reasons were like I love storytelling. I believe in the power of storytelling,
Mhm.
the ability to move people to tears and bring people together and educate.
Mhm.
And then also working with other artists and there's so much abundance and then the possibilities of travel and like
Yeah.
learning new skills. Like Timothy Chalamet is one of the most unique guys because he learns how to play an instrument, learns how to sing, learns how to do table tennis. Like,
Mhm.
and that's a gift that if you're blessed that a lot of these roles give you. So I just kind of want to seek the most out of life and grow a career where it can open those opportunities. But I meditate on it sometimes because I'm like, I don't know, man, if I'm like 40, it kind of scares me the idea of like you have to go away for 6 months and
Mm.
like you have a family
Mhm.
and how do you kind of balance all that?
Yeah.
And now in this kind of world of a lot of people are making even more money with like brand deals
Mhm.
and with starting their own businesses. I think it's really fascinating of I feel like acting is almost like my entry point because I don't know what else to do kind of,
Yeah.
but I'd love for it to, like, lead into other things where I can step into spaces that I'm passionate about, whether that's, for a lot of, like, mental health spaces and public speaking, events and doing, like, men's retreats and wellness. Wellness is such a big part of my life, so being involved with those communities and maybe that's starting I got a breathwork certification,
Mm.
like, there's so many things I've kind of dabbled in but haven't fully gone into and, like, turned it into a way to make money. So ultimately, really just living in an area that I love and kind of like I like the idea of a small town where everyone knows everyone, building a family
Mhm.
and having that kind of simple life while also being able to make money and to support the family while giving and while feeding my soul and the family's soul and giving back to the world because I don't know, the world could look a lot different in the next 10, 15
Mhm.
years, you know? So
Yeah. It's crazy, dude.
yeah, so, I can't give one answer, I'm terrible.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's I fully agree with all that, and I think, yeah, it's hard to navigate, like, having dreams of being a family man and a dad is a different thing when you're doing acting. Because, like you said, you might have to go to Antarctica for 6 months to go film some random weird thing, right? And you're like,
Live action Surf's Up,
"Yeah,
right?
dude, let's do it. Cody is me, bro. Cody is me." Dude, you could totally play Cody, dude, that would be sick. If I could play Chicken Joe, that would be the
Shiverful,
dream.
man.
That would be the
That would
dream.
be
We
unreal.
we watched that movie, while we were filming vampire
Highlight of the
movies.
trip, man.
That was highlight of the trip. Dude, I forgot how good that movie was. But no, but, like, stuff like that where, um, yeah, if you had to go film and you got the family back home, it's like, do they come with you? Do they stay and you might miss out on like a dance recital or something, and it's like it's tough to navigate. So I don't know how they do it. Like I don't know how the big dogs do it that have careers and families. I hope they're good
Yeah.
parents, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
and for
don't.
me, I think it's definitely just from, like, understanding, like, human development, like, those 0 to 7, like, when a kid's 0 to 7 years old, that's,
Mhm.
like, the most foundational time where they're kind of developing,
Mhm.
and that's, like, I feel like the most important time to be present in their lives,
Yeah.
and then afterwards, you can kinda let them fly a little
Yeah.
bit and, like,
8 years
hopefully
old.
bring in new mentors and aunties
Yeah.
and uncles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out of here. You gotta get out of the
You
house, kid.
done?
But,
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll see, but I feel like McConaughey's navigated it pretty beautifully,
Mhm.
like, he had his independent journey where he got to travel and see the world, find himself,
Mhm.
fall in love, and he's been a family man, and I feel like, again, it's such an assumption, don't know McConaughey yet,
Not yet.
but I feel like
Yeah.
that's such an important thing for him, I know it has been, and he's still been able to have an incredible career
Mhm.
while doing it, and also do the things that he's passionate about, whether that's, like, a tequila, company brand and, like,
Mhm.
giving back to Texas, hook 'em,
Fuel on
football,
orange. Yeah.
all that stuff.
That's
There's a way,
yeah.
and that's a season or a challenge for another day.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're probably not in that season now unless you got some big old news, but,
Big old
big
news.
old news.
All my friends are getting married, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, me too,
Mm.
dude. It's crazy to see, like, all from high school and stuff, they're getting married and, like, they're like, "Oh, we got a baby on the way too," and you're like, "That's wild," 'cause, like, yeah, they just have a mustache now, but they don't look any different, and you're like, "Dude, that's crazy that you went from high school to where I knew you to now you have a child, you, like, have a whole creature to take care of." It's crazy, but I think
God bless him.
yeah, I know, yeah, good luck, to that, which I also would love to be a dad at some point and, get to have that experience, but yeah, run through the same problem of, like, this weird career that we've chosen, things could just come up out of nowhere, and you gotta go do it just to put food on the table, and yeah.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, like, right now?
Yeah.
'Cause you're still in LA, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you navigate the space in between jobs besides
Just sit on the floor and cry a little bit, but, I basically for me, I do a lot of editing, so I'll just be on the computer, editing, like, social media stuff or podcast producing, so I'll just be sitting at home on my computer editing, to make ends meet, but it just kind of barely pays for like, the bare minimum of wanting to get paid. So there's a lot of things you have to be flexible about as far as like where I'm at in my life. It's like things like your meal plan like crazy just to make sure that you're not overspending on groceries and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a weird
Mhm,
thing. I mean, a lot of actors will relate to that of sort of the weird minimal lifestyle that they have to kind of figure out in order to get to do the jobs that come out of the
yeah,
way. So, yeah, but yeah, it's not easy. It's
mhm,
not easy at all.
mhm.
And
The
some
sacrifices we make, man.
yeah, yeah. So that starving artist thing I thought was kind of like a, "Oh, that's so cool. That's like a yeah," but then you start to live it a little bit and you're like, "Alright, this is a
Mhm.
I wanna get to the well-fed artist lifestyle eventually," but, it just takes time
Yeah,
to
but
kind
I
of
will say I think experiencing the low of
mhm.
that just makes you
Oh,
appreciate that
yeah.
and fight for that
Yeah.
so much more, and once we get there, because we will get
Yeah.
there, that's gonna be a real fulfilling moment.
Yeah. That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Um, Another question I wanted to ask you was, um, when does time feel fast for you?
Dancing.
Dancing.
And I need to do more of it.
Yeah.
I was talking to him earlier about doing line dancing,
Yeah.
but, for me, it was kind of like back when I was in college. It was unfortunately, it was tied to a lot of, you're drinking and you're going out with your
Mhm.
friends, but you kinda you're and at the end of the night, I'm just, like, sweating,
Mhm.
and you're just I feel like time moves differently the more present you are. So, I find that when you're dancing and you're not giving a care in the world and you're not worried about, rent tomorrow or what
Yeah.
happened yesterday or all the dramas here and there, you just kind of enter this flow state, and flow state's a real fascinating thing. So,
Mhm.
I think definitely being able to, like, truly dance, and sometimes I'm, like, kind of, like, can be insecure and you're, like, kind of in your body and it feels like time is this is the longest thing ever.
Mhm.
But when you're truly in that flow state and free and present, that's when time moves. I don't even know. It disappears.
Mhm.
Other times, man, writing, which is cool because for me, my writing kind of process, I think I struggle with having more, like, structure, being like, "Alright, I just need to write 10 pages today," and hold
Mhm.
myself to that and make it a non-negotiable and make it ugly, but just get it
Yeah.
out, and once I get it out, I start finding it. You start chiseling away
Yeah.
at the sculpture, and it starts forming, but a lot of times sometimes the download or the information or the idea comes, and then I'm flowing with it,
Mhm.
and it's one of the most beautiful states, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorite states,
Mhm.
and it happened recently because I wrote this short film, and I started sending some of the shorts I have to my friend, and he was like, "Dude, I'd love to this would be really cool. I could see it as a series."
Mhm.
So I'm like, "I don't know how to produce it or really get it off the ground, but I'm like, just as an exercise, let's turn this into 6 episodes." So opened the door, I started a little outline, and then I just started flowing again. This was, like, 3 days ago where I finished the outline,
Yeah.
and again, you're listening to music that kind of helps reinforce some of the themes and the characters, and I'm like, "How do I map it?" And then when I start finding it, and then there's certain things where and the creative process is so interesting because, like, where do ideas come from? And sometimes it's things that you can't even have believed that you came up with,
Yeah.
but when you enter that flow state, there's something spiritual that happens. And there were some moments where, like, things came together narratively and in the story that just had me laughing because I'm like, holy that's wicked. Like that, I love that.
Yeah.
And that just kind of happens. So when I'm writing, I'm in that flow, time also kind of disappears. But then there's so many moments where I I'm not kind of dialed in, or I don't have like an intention, or I don't have an idea, and I get, that writer's block for like
Mhm.
could be 3 or 6 months. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. Um and then when I used to do these kind of sketches and editing, I found
Mhm.
editing, which I don't do often, but when you're like, you kind of did your thing and then you're in the editing room and
Yeah.
it's yours playing,
Yeah.
I remember doing it. It was like 3 hours later and you look down, you're like,
Mhm.
dang, but you're just so locked in. So
Yeah.
those, and then I feel like, again, like improvisation or performance, like when you're on stage. It's been a while since I've been on stage, but again, just the moments where you're really present and just like living the scene, living the moment.
Mhm.
Everything else kind of disappears a little bit.
Yeah, so it seems like it's like the through line of all of it is sort of you're creating, whether it's dancing, you're, like, kind of finding the rhythm, but you're also kinda creating the whatever the moves turn into. It depends upon what you're listening to, but it's sort of, yeah, the writing and everything, like, you're creating something in that flow state of creation. Dude, it's like
Mhm,
I love that feeling of, like, oh, you get in the flow of the creation of whatever it is, and then you look up at the clock and it's 2 hours later. That feeling is so cool.
mhm.
Like, I have never gotten that with, like, normal work. I don't know if that's how people who operate in that sense of, like, I love business so much," and then they, like, do business and somehow, like, they get in the flow state of business. I don't know if that's, like, a thing for businessmen,
I think
but
I think in those moments, 'cause I just did, like I started this catering company too.
Uh-huh.
When you're, like, boots on the ground and you're busy, busy, busy,
Mhm.
you we're to the point where you can't even think, you're just reacting and going, 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 going.
Yeah.
I actually find that moments like that also fly by,
Mm,
'cause
mhm.
sometimes it's like I'd rather it be crazy busy because it goes faster than being really
Oh,
slow.
yeah.
So sometimes if it's, like, so hectic where you can't think,
Yeah.
that kind of not that necessarily I love that, but I think time gets weird then
Mhm.
too.
No, it's true. It's so true because, like, some jobs I've worked that have been slow just take forever, but, like, I worked for a while at a dog training facility, here in LA, and, sometimes I liked it when it was quiet, nothing was going on because you just hung out with the dogs. Because when work was fast, it basically meant that you were handling, like, 3 owners at the door who need their dogs, and there's 30 dogs there all barking at you, and one of them needs omelet given to it at 3 p.m. with its back pill or whatever, and you're like, "I'm gonna explode." But yeah, that
Doing
I
God's work.
doing the Lord's work with that. Yeah, yeah, but that it's so addicting, that flow state with creativity, and then, yeah, when you get the writer's block, it sucks because it feels like you don't want to be sober from the flow state, but sometimes life is like, "Sorry, you're not writing
Mhm.
today." So,
Not today.
yeah, but that's good. That's good, yeah. That's good. Another question is, what's a lesson you've learned in life from a mistake that you may have made?
This is, this is kind of a story,
Mhm.
but I mean, one was we talked about the circumstance with Sean
Oh, yeah.
and goofing off on
Goofing.
set and,
Yeah.
like, the lesson that you kind of learned from that.
Mhm.
But this is an interesting story that I don't really share that much. I was a junior in college, and it was such a weird time. I basically missed the first week of, like, syllabus week of school
Mhm.
because I was on vacation in, like, Costa Rica and Panama. It was, like, this life-changing trip,
Yeah.
and I came back, and it was, like, Friday, and I had missed it, and I emailed my professors, and some of them were cool, some of them were not cool, and I was like, "It's syllabus week, so it's no big deal."
Yeah.
And I had this one professor, and he was an American literature
Mhm.
professor,
Mhm.
Professor Hamelman, and I had heard story he has deep lore, like, he's one of those guys
Mhm.
where you either kind of like him or you like he's the worst person in the
Yeah.
world. So I kind of had an understanding of that, and I went in there and he knows he's like he's a unique I've never really met a teacher kind of like him. And so he knew who I was and how I was late, and I had missed there was like a quiz or exam on Wednesday,
Mhm.
the first Wednesday of the year of the semester, and I went in afterwards asking when I can, like, retake it or whatever. Basically, I got a 0, and then he was like, "Why didn't you come to me in office hours before class?" And I was like, and then he was like, "Bye." And I was like,
Well,
"Uh." And then I had a paper that I had to do. Um, it was all you read a short story, and then you kind of answer a few questions, and I kinda half-assed it a little bit, and I ended up going into his office, and I got like a 60% in on the paper,
mm,
and I started the class with like a 40%, like the first 2 weeks and he goes in, and I was just like, he's just kind of like basically saying how bad this is, and I'm just like, I don't really know what to say, but like I'm gonna turn it around,
yeah.
and I don't really know what else to do. And usually it's easy to quit at that moment, but I'm like, no, I need to follow through with this. So then over the next weeks, I started working a little bit harder. I started really reading the assignments, going a little bit more above and beyond, actually going into his office hours just to connect and stay up to date. and it was like a month later or so. Um, there was another paper that I did, and I did a really good job on it. And he said, "Come to my office." And I
Mhm.
went to his office, and he was basically like a moment of being like, you did a great job on this one, like,
Mm,
well done. And I was like, and then I said, "Oh yeah, I tried." And he was like, "No, you didn't try, you did."
mm,
And that was like the lesson. That was where I was like, my entire life, I kind of lived with this kind of humility to a
mhm,
fault, where I would always be like, "Oh, it wasn't," like, someone was like, "Oh, you had a great game." I was like, no, it's, it was okay."
mhm.
And I kind of danced throughout life that way, not knowing that that was affecting my confidence on the field and off the field, in life, out of life. And that was the first time this guy was such a straight arrow, and he was just
Yeah.
so direct, and he was right too, and I never really gave myself permission to accept that
Mm,
if I did a good job, and I think a lot of us have experienced that in a lot of ways where it's for some reason I accept selling myself short, and I know many of us can,
mm.
and if we do a good job, like, yes, we did a good job, and, like, you did the work to do the good job, so, like, pat yourself on the back and, like, take a little celebration, a moment that you did do it. You did the thing. You didn't just try, you
You
did it,
did it, yeah.
and that's a really cool lesson that I learned.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
learned a lot from that teacher, man. It
I
was
bet.
interesting.
Yeah.
There was there was one time where there was, like, this short story that no one read, and he knew no one read it, and he was like, "Alright, there was like you have 5 minutes to do a 10-question quiz, go."
Ah,
And everyone's freaking out, bro. And I'm just like
ah.
kind of looking like this can't be real. I'm kind of like laughing, and I like honestly didn't really know a ton of the
Yeah,
answers.
yeah.
He goes around, looks at everyone's paper, knows that nobody knows the answers. And then he stands up front, time's up, he's like, hand him in. Everyone's freaking out,
Ah,
and he rips it up. He rips it
oh,
up in front of everyone and was like what, but I'm like, what a like, no teacher goes to the length
no.
to, like, extract that feeling,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This guy might be a master of the
Yeah,
craft
yeah.
of teaching," and
Yeah,
I that was what separated, for me, like, the difference in teaching styles.
yeah.
It made me almost think I don't there were a lot of things that maybe weren't great about this guy too. He had a lot of certain things with, like, woman, and, like, it was, like, kind of
Yikes,
a thing,
yeah.
but it was the first experience in, like, what happens with, like, whiplash, you know? You
Yeah,
have a crazy teacher that pushes a student that's crazy driven, and the methods are crazy, but there is some sort of mastery. So
yeah. There's nothing, like, scarier for me than, like, a teacher basically being uh, just throwing you into the fire, just kinda, like, ridiculing you, and like, for me, a lot of times, I would turn away from that and be just scared of it, but then when I started to realize, like, that's them wanting to help you and push you, then it allows you to actually grow. But, yeah, has there
mhm.
been
Yeah, dude,
anything,
and
like, that you took that lesson, were you able to apply it anything recently or, like, years after, or moments after, like, you were like, "Oh, I'm glad I learned that because now I'm using it."
from that one
Yeah,
specifically?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, and I've been through a big since really graduating college, those first couple years, I took a lot of emotional intelligence classes
Mhm,
of just kind of being aware of my mindset, my stories, because we all have stories about what it means for me to be a man, who am I, and
mhm,
like my relationship with money and like people and my family and like everything and all the narratives that kind of play on in my head. And they're just stories. And I realize that I have some stories that are self-limiting beliefs that kind of put me down that
mhm,
aren't even necessarily true, but I believe, and then I embody, and then that becomes my reality.
mhm,
And I'm identifying that, and that came from like a time where I was a kid that instilled that belief in me, but that doesn't have to be my belief moving forwards.
mhm,
So I think from learning that, I had this belief and narrative that I'm not I'm not strong enough to say I did it, you know? Like,
mhm,
I'm not worthy enough of doing a thing and, like, standing my ground and, like, owning that because that means there's ego involved, and my dad, like, never liked people who are egotistical and, like, kind of
mhm,
cocky assholes, so I ran away from that versus it's okay to own yourself and take ownership and find that alignment and step into it. So it's kind of started a self-exploration of identifying all the stories, all the narratives, all
mhm.
the self-limiting beliefs that I carried. And are they true? Most of the time they're not. And if they're not, how do I reprogram those stories to something positive?
Yeah,
And then that turned into a lot of positive affirmations and kind of just reframing a lot of my views on life
yeah,
that has like created a foundation for me in now all aspects of my life. So it's kind of like a seed that kind of sparked a thing that has kind of extracted into trying to step into the best version of myself I
Yeah.
can be.
No, that's cool, and it's also like, it's also like calling yourself a doer is so much cooler than a trier, you know? And it's like the things that you've done, like, recently, you just moved to New York just to do it as opposed to, "I'm trying New York out. I'm trying it on." It's like, "No, I put on New York. I'm doing this right now. I'm walking around. I'm taking classes. I'm meeting people." That's just like it's like a
Mhm.
you know? Um,
That's a good point, man.
yeah.
Because I think a lot of my life I lived in my head where
Mhm.
I was a thinker versus a doer,
Yeah.
and even now, I think I just watched Marty Supreme, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm not doing enough. I'm just not
Yeah.
doing enough." And
Like ping
I have
pong?
friends who are
You're like, "I need to do
Have
more
you seen
ping
the movie?
pong?" No, not yet. But, like, did it inspire you to do ping pong or, like, acting? Like, what are you
Not ping pong, but
not doing enough
just
ping
life,
pong.
man. Just, like,
Yeah.
he has a goal, and I think the way his character hustles is similar to an actor's life,
Mhm.
trying to find that next job, trying to break big and, like, get those opportunities and make it for himself.
Mhm.
And the things that he did, granted, were a little crazy, and I don't think I'd go to those lengths, but
Yeah.
still a level of, like, this is a guy who's in this space who isn't where he wants to be, and how does he get to where he wants to go to do what
Mhm.
he needs to do and wants to do and knows he's capable of doing, and I think a lot of artists can relate to that kind of hustle and that kind of lifestyle,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I'm trying to step into more action, I think, this year too, because
Mhm.
there were some moments, and even my friend, like a friend of me is like, "Dude, you've always been, in my eyes, someone who says he's gonna do something and does it. Like starts a podcast, does it. Like starts messy and does it."
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of things in my own head that I want to do that I haven't yet done, and there's certain fears in certain ways that kind of hold me back. So this is the year really wanting to just do it, man,
Yeah.
and start and make it be ugly, make it be
Mhm.
messy. Start writing and put into that spaghetti, and then you find it, and then you
Mhm.
find your groove, and then you find your rhythm, and then it becomes
Mhm.
just another day, a part of your reality.
Yeah. Is there a certain thing that you wanna do this year specific? Like, you've started your podcast, and
Yeah.
that's been awesome. Is there, like, a new thing that you wanna do and start this year that you've thought about?
Yeah, so I was talking to my one friend because I did this show, and I it was such a blessing because I connected with a lot of guys in their early 20s who are
Mhm.
also actors, and also just creatives, like
Mhm.
editors and kind of like cinematographers, directors,
Yeah.
different kind of artists and multidisciplinary. And one of my guys, we've been wanting to do sketches together for a minute, like
Mhm.
tap into a little unearthed, man.
Boy.
Start our own thing,
Little
dude,
under the tapes.
and
Yeah.
have fun. Yeah, and have fun with it and showcase. Because also as actors in today's world, everyone has a camera and we all have the
Mhm.
ability to tell a story. And sometimes work might be a little slower than others. So
Mhm.
what can we control and what can we focus on and take a little bit of control into our own hands, make our own content, showcase characters that maybe we aren't given to get to play so
Mhm.
that we can prove that we can. Because a lot of times you have to prove that you can do something
Yeah.
before given just a shot.
Yeah.
And so I definitely wanna do more kind of sketches in more of like a comedic
Mhm.
space and tap into that. So, dude, you inspire me.
Dude, yeah, no, but the I
Check 'em out. Check
check
'em out,
them
y'all.
out. No, but I fully agree with you on that, like, in the meantime, kind of what we talked about earlier, like what do you do in the in-betweens? Sort of you gotta make your own things, and that is so fulfilling too. I mean, it will probably be messy and it won't be your favorite thing 5 years down the line. That's kind of my experience. You're like, you look back on the things you created, you're like, "Okay, we would have done that differently now." But it's so important to keep doing them. Otherwise, you'll stay in that same zone of kind of like that learning zone of not really growing from it. Um, so that,
Yeah.
like, you'll get to a point where you're working with McConaughey and you're like, "Hey, man, I wrote this thing." And he's like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And you're like and you yes.
Yes.
And it's like, I've done the work and I've had the growth on these past projects, all these things I've worked on so that I can confidently give him a script and say, "I believe in this now." And yeah. So that's good. I'm excited for you,
Mhm.
dude. Is it gonna be like comedy sketches, like, for social media, for YouTube, or you throw it in
Probably
festivals?
YouTube that gets put on social
Yeah,
media.
yeah.
But I wrote, this kind of satirical New York gangster kind of
Mm,
very simple short film
yeah,
that's like 12, 13 pages,
nice.
and it has a certain rhythm to it. The setup, it's like one location, pretty easy. So it's like from a production standpoint, I feel like for me, the first thing like needs to be pretty easy to approach, so we're not traveling and spending buttloads of money.
Right.
And that one, depending on like, I have an idea for like the lighting of kind of the tone that I want for
Mhm.
it and how it comes out. That could be something where maybe we toss it in a festival,
That'd be cool.
just because of like the structure of it,
Yeah.
the way it'll kind of be shot.
Yeah.
Um, but for everything else would probably be like we were talking about recreating like, the Blues Brothers dynamic and do something
Yeah.
like that, you know?
That'd be
Or like
cool.
there were some like SNL bits that he was like, "Dude, we should just like recreate it and like
Yeah.
do a little spin or just recreate it and just
Yeah.
like play and act and like showcase that we can do that."
That's cool.
So a lot of that would probably be like again YouTube slash social media.
That's awesome. That's sick. Yeah. No, full power to that because I think it can be really easy to not do anything in between, but yeah, you're doing the work and having fun with it and learning from it, so that's awesome, dude.
Mm,
Um,
Thank you, mate.
what has been your greatest teacher?
Greatest teacher.
Could be literally your professor, but what else?
Right,
What else
right.
in life?
Um, I mean, I feel like failure is such a generic answer
Mm,
because there's so many moments of failure that I grow and learn from. And, but I mean, I kind of want to say like my sister, dude,
mm,
my little sister, and I hope she's okay with me sharing this. I won't dive too deep, but she went through a pretty tough patch.
mhm,
And through that, I kind of learned a lot about myself
mm,
and just how to lead throughout life, you know, with a little bit more love and empathy and compassion, and teaching me patience in a lot of ways. And I feel like it was definitely part of her story, but it kind of bled into mine. That kind of impacted me in a beautiful way that has like, I feel like I don't really think about it every day, like that time period, but it was such a foundational moment where it's like, all right, we can't, you're trying to change people, you're trying to do this, and you're trying to like push and push and push
mm,
turn to the point where I'm like, all right, I just need to focus on myself and what I can control and try to lead by example. And then that had me do a little bit, take care of my garden a little bit more.
mm,
And then there are moments where doing that, you get an affirmation that it did work. And there are moments where she's like, maybe she does like look up to me now. And like
mhm,
there are some moments, um, through just kind of leading by example. But yeah, I think just like leading with more love and compassion, and you realize the fragility of life a lot.
yeah,
So I kind of changed my viewpoint on life and to not take things for granted. And I think I forget it still sometimes today, but I think that started the foundation for doing the work.
mm,
Um, so that was
yeah,
definitely a big lesson, and then also, like, being sick, like, I used to be so sick all the time,
mm,
and that kickstarted my health journey. So, again, it's, like,
yeah,
kind of like those bottom moments that kinda propel you
mhm,
to make change
yeah.
where I learned the most.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it can be so easy, kinda like we were just talking about, it can be so easy to kinda stay where you are, right? Like, if you were sick, you can be like, "I'm just gonna work on just not being sick," whereas now you're like, "Actually, I'm gonna work on being healthy," and it's, like, changed
Mhm,
your life completely, and I'm sure it's, like, also one of those things where I've also had friends and family go through things, and you walk alongside them to help them, and as you're doing that, it's, like, impacting you and showing you what you can do to help yourself as well, so and I
mhm,
know for me, like when I'm going through things, I always appreciate people helping me, but I also love to show the things that I've been through. How can I help people not go through what I've been through and how can I share that? So I'm sure your sister was like, "Hey man, this
mhm.
thing we're going through, let's do it together. It's better that way." What's one of your
Yeah.
favorite things about your sister?
Bro, she's so artistic.
Mm,
I really at some point, I really wish she took a theater class
yeah.
because she was more of a theater kid than I was,
Really?
you know? My aunt used to always take her to Broadway, and she knows every song. I, like, drove her and her friends, out for, like, her 21st birthday,
Yeah.
and you should have seen this girl singing Hamilton. It was
Oh,
inspiring,
snap.
dude. I'm like, "You need to get on a stage now."
Now.
Um, but when she outside of kind of that, she was always my partner in crime too, like, we would
Mm,
always there was, like, an amazing trip we took down to South Carolina, which is where I went to school, and I have kind of, like, a second family down there, it feels
mhm,
like, and it was cool bringing her in on that space, and we would just you know, there was one time it was like 2020 and or 2021, but still COVID-y, and we went
mhm.
to Asheville, and everything was, like, kinda closed, but this guy was playing a saxophone, he's playing jazz, and
Yeah.
she was in, like, a dress, and I was kinda dressed up, and we were just dancing in the street,
That's so
you know?
cool.
So she was, like, my our ability to kind of just be present and play and have fun.
Yeah.
Um, she definitely has a lot of that, and then also, when she puts her mind to something, she's locked in,
Mm,
and a lot of times that's she's so crafty, whether that's crocheting or doing arts and crafts projects, um, she tinkers and, like, her Christmas gifts are always, like, DIY, personal, like, getting old photos together
mm,
and, like, turning it into a thing that, like, makes it such a cool thing.
yeah.
And it's crazy because 'cause she's got the artsy gene, but she's also, like, the smartest of, I feel like, all of us. She's
Yeah.
like it's a trip, it's a trip.
She got the
Gives me a
brains.
little bit of yeah, she got the brains,
Dang it.
man, she got the
She took the
brains.
brains. That's cool, yeah. No, I like to ask people, like, what's one of your favorite things about some of your family members because, yeah, I think it's
Mm,
just kinda fun to see their energy go up because they're talking about someone they love, so, yeah, that's cool, man.
yeah.
That's awesome. Would she ever go out to New York, you think, to do Broadway and
Yeah,
all
we talked
that, you
about it.
think?
Oh, like, to do
Yeah,
acting.
yeah.
Bro, she's an environmental engineer, like,
Okay,
that's her
never
path
mind.
right now. Yeah, like, the smart gene
She's like
is
yeah, she's
there.
solving, like, real world problems, like, she's, making things work.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
she's finding her way, it's gonna be good,
Yeah,
but you never know, dude. I mean, like,
yeah,
sometimes you could be like, "Alright, I just need, like, a little break," and you do a little community theater, boom,
yeah,
the bug,
yeah,
bang.
yeah. Or he'd be like Norman Reedus, you know, and like from Walking Dead, he was like like working he kinda wanted to be an actor, didn't really think about it, and then he was working at an auto mechanic shop and, like, got in a fight in the night before or something like that and looked the part for something and just was at the right place, and somebody gave him a role in a
You never
play, and
know.
then yeah, it's that same thing, you never know. And I think what you're doing is so
Mhm.
smart of, like, you're putting yourself out there in the big city, walking around, throwing yourself just don't get, like, kidnapped off of Craigslist or whatever, but
Bro, funny story. New York has not kicked my butt to the point where I hate it yet.
Yeah,
Um, I'm starting to fall I'm like such a beach bum. Like
yeah,
LA was kind of like how I always envisioned it, but
mhm,
just from a business standpoint right now, like the East Coast still makes the most sense for me.
mhm,
I was actually living here over the summertime for like a month and a half.
mm.
2 weeks in, bro, my wallet got stolen.
Oh,
And I
man.
have a video of the thief, bro. I have a
What?
video of the thief.
You
It was
watched him take
crazy.
it from your pocket like, "This is
I was
probably gonna
so
be bad."
oblivious, dude.
What
I was at
happened?
a cafe and I had my backpack down and on, like, one of the zippers, the flap was open, my
Mm,
wallet was there. So, no, like, normal human being would still take that, but
no.
this guy walks in, comes behind me, pretends to be on the phone, and then you, like, see him kinda, like, crouch down and, like, grab it and then walk out. And I was, like, halfway walking, I was like, "Where's my" because I was tapping to go on the subway, so I didn't
Yeah,
really need my wallet,
yeah.
and I was like, "I don't know where it is," and then I was like, Maybe I left it at the apartment and I went back and it wasn't there. So then I called the cafe that I was at and then they like that night said, "Yeah, we have a video of it."
Oh my
It was
gosh.
crazy.
So did you
I
get
still
it
have it,
back?
yeah.
Did you get your wallet back?
No.
No? He's
It
gone?
was pretty I got the money back that he spent just through the banks,
Okay.
and then I had to file a police report. The only thing that was, like, really detrimental that I lost in there was my BJ's card, and then I had
Mhm.
a Polaroid of my mom, like,
Aw,
a really cute Polaroid of my mom.
dang
That
it,
was about it, but
dude.
it's okay, man. It's okay.
If you're listening to this
Hopefully, he was able to
podcast,
splurge.
yeah, and you
He went
stole his wallet, give it back, dude. Give it back. That's not cool.
the man went to GNC, so I
Oh.
think he's on a transformational journey to
Wow,
get
good for
get
him, you
justice.
know? Yeah, I hope he, gets out of his rut of being a thief, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but they did say that, like, he's kind of, like, on a list, like,
Oh,
he's this isn't his first rodeo, so,
he's the guy you call.
hopefully God comes to
I
him
mean,
and
yeah, if he
sets
was
him straight.
leaning down, he was, like, doing, like, the yoga move to get down to your
He
wallet,
knew what he
like,
was
you coulda
doing.
just asked for it, you know? What's
That's true,
the lost art
I would've given him all the
of
money in there,
manners?
man.
Yeah, just be like, "Oh, yeah, you need this more than me,
Yeah.
let me just take out my Polaroid." Yeah. No, I went to New York, see, last year, September, and it was kinda I had been in New York once with my dad in high school, but it was a solo trip, essentially, and so going around New York was bananas, and I'm lucky that I didn't lose my wallet, but there was one night where I was using my phone to find the subway, trams, and all that stuff, and for some reason, when I walked to a subway tram after seeing a Broadway show, Book of Mormon, it was like 11 p.m., New York at night, and when I walked to the subway tram, it just did not exist. So then I was like, "Oh, okay, we're now just in New York at night. I don't know where I am. They clearly know I don't know where I am." All the people walking around, and so it was, a little freaky navigating, but I'm sure over time I would kinda get used to it, just like LA and all the
Mm.
craziness of nighttime
Oh,
LA,
yeah.
but
I remember when I used to visit, I was like, "How no everyone's traveling on the tram and, like, no one's looking at their phone like I
mhm,
am, like, how are they doing this?"
yeah,
But you live here long enough, you know where it's going and usually take a similar
mhm,
route, and I'm already kind of at the place where I know how to
yeah.
so it's amazing what the body's capable of once
Oh,
you get
yeah,
into a routine.
yeah. Have you gotten lost yet?
Oh, all the time. I, like,
Yeah,
intentionally get lost.
yeah,
There was one time where I was navigating with my mom, and I was just like, "Mom, I don't know what happened. We're, like, on the wrong line." And that was, like I
yeah,
was actually upset with myself. I was
yeah,
like, "Man." But, yeah, sometimes I think I should just hop on and just it's tricky because it's wintertime,
mhm,
so I think it was a lot easier over the summer
mhm,
where I just walked from, like, Upper West Side down to,
mhm,
like, below Midtown, and just walked for, like, 3 hours.
yeah,
And so I did a lot of that over the summertime. It's a little tough in the wintertime,
yeah.
it's a little cold.
It's a little cold, a little cold. Yeah, no, it's I'd love to go visit in the winter just to actually experience a
Yeah,
cold
yeah,
winter.
bro.
Yeah, so are you gonna be there
Oh,
for a
no,
long
I
time?
gotta pu
Or, like, what's the plan?
yeah, for the interim, that's,
Okay.
so I had this job where it was pretty consistent in Baltimore, which is why, again, like, LA, I was kind of, like, going towards there,
Mhm.
but I don't wanna give this opportunity up,
Yeah.
so I can still make it to Baltimore from New York.
Mhm.
So I do, like, some fit modeling for a company,
Mhm.
and their large fit model has been working with them for, like, 8 years.
Mm.
So I'm like, if I can get some, like, steady income doing that, I'm like, that's kind
That'd
of
be
awesome.
cool.
So I definitely wanna stay here in the meantime, but, I mean, we'll see what happens with career stuff,
Yeah.
but I think for 100% this year until my lease is up, probably another couple years,
Nice.
maybe give it like 4 or 5, but hey, you never know where this crazy industry will take
Yeah,
us.
there you never know.
Never know.
That's awesome, dude. That's crazy. One last question I'll have for you is, how do you wanna be remembered?
I wanna be remembered for my smile.
Mm.
Someone who's just, like, always bringing a light into a room.
Mhm.
Um, be remembered as a connector.
Mhm.
I find a lot of value in that, like, finding different communities and pockets of people and connecting them together, and I haven't done that really in a while, and I kind of love that, and I realized there was one of my friend got into an accident recently.
Mm.
We were ice skating, she, like, kind of got bumped, and she fell on her ankle, and she we went to a hospital, and her friend she was kind of asking around, like, "Do you know anyone who, like, works at the hospital so that we can get in?" And I want to be someone who's so well connected
Mm.
that I can, like, phone a friend and, like, call it and make a
Yeah.
favor. So I wanna be remembered for that to kind of just help, and that's one of, like, my whys for reaching whatever level of success looks like, so I
Mhm.
can, like my cousins are, like, really sick and, like, give resources to certain like, not necessarily give people money, but give people resources and opportunities
Mhm.
to follow their dreams in their heart. I wanna be remembered for giving big hugs.
Mm. Yeah.
I really wanna be remembered for giving big hugs and, like, really looking people in the eyes
Mm.
and being present. But ultimately just, like, love, fun, goofy, silly,
Yeah.
was able to just be himself all the time.
Mhm.
Because when I was in high school, I really struggled with code switching, and I
Mhm.
didn't know who I was, so I kind of kept putting on all these different masks,
Yeah.
and as I'm getting older and doing more work on myself, I feel it when I'm able to be myself in all settings, and granted, you still kind of have to code switch, like, I don't talk to a casting director the way I do you or, like, a
Yeah.
friend, you know?
It's probably smart.
But
Yeah.
still being true
Yeah.
in all facets of life.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's good, man. Yeah, and then I know for me, like, we were when I first met you, I was immediately, like, overwhelmed with this, like, warm sense of self. Like, you have such a bright energy that you carry with you that I'm sure New York is actually probably healing having you there and having people interact with you. I know for me, like, when we were filming, like, goofing around with you was one of my favorite parts just because, like, it didn't feel like we were, like, doing work and we'd get in trouble for it, when we were goofing around, but it felt like we were
Yeah.
just, like, hanging out and goofing around, and I think people kinda can get so overwhelmed with life that they lose that sense of warmness and, like, being able to be a comfort for someone, but it doesn't like, for me, hanging out with you and people seeing and hanging out with you, like, you always carry that, and so, like, I just love that you're able to carry that despite life throwing crazy shit at you probably all the time. Um, so
It's tough,
yeah,
man. The light definitely can get dim at times.
yeah.
Um, but I really just wanna emphasize, like, how healing that first movie experience was.
Mhm.
And, like, growing up, I had sisters, never had a brother, and it'd been a while since, like, cause I was living up with my mom, I, like, wasn't really with a lot of friends, and, like, to have, like, a brotherly figure in you,
Mm,
dude, like, I came back, that come down from that film
yeah,
was, like, way harder than it should have been,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that was a real treat.
No, yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was that was because I just remember, like, we stayed in the same room and you were on one side, I was on the other, and so, yeah, when we would say goodnight to each other, you put on, like, the the breathing tape. So, it
I was
was
Larkin,
like
dude, my mouth tape,
yes,
yeah.
the mouth tape thing. So, it
Couldn't
was my
talk.
goal to get you to laugh so that it would break, so you'd have to, like,
I start
reseal it. Bro,
dying.
yeah, it was like,
Breaking the seal.
unintentionally killing you was my goal, I
Yeah,
guess. So it was dude, it was so fun, just, like,
it was real
we'd be
fresh.
up way too late just talking and, like, goofing around and yeah. So but yeah,
Worth it,
I
man.
appreciate I'm
Worth it.
so glad I met you by coincidence 3 years ago and yeah,
Dude, that's a beautiful thing.
yeah.
Again, this say, like, all the struggles in between, navigating jobs, like, we're truly a part of a circus, and, like, I feel like I get adopted
Mhm.
every time I work on a project, and, like, you never know how many it is throughout the year, but, like, what a and I think it's such a spiritual pursuit that we're on and that the right people fall into our lap at the right time,
Mhm.
and it's such a again, with all the challenges and the rejection and the this and the that
Yeah.
and the hustle, the goods outweigh all of that by
Mhm.
a long shot.
Yep.
It's really cool.
No, it's true. Yeah, man. Alright, well, thank you for being on, dude. I appreciate you.